Good evening, world. How are you doing on a pleasant Wednesday evening? Welcome with all our hearts to yet another episode of our Hen Life. Who are we? We are Hen India, her entrepreneurial network, a networking platform for women led businesses where each of us hashtag belong with Hen. Well, HEN is a community of women entrepreneurs focused on inspiring, informing, and supporting each other to build successful businesses along with balanced lives. Every week, we bring you HEN members who are doing that in one way or the other and are definitely making a massive impact on the world. Right? I'm your host for the evening. My name is Gunjan, and my guest today is someone extremely impactful and someone who might end up spilling some secrets on how to have another source of income. Something that none of us would mind saying yes to, right? Hi, Manali.
Hello, Gunjan. Thanks for
How are
having me
you?
here. I'm
How
all
are you
well.
today?
Yeah.
It's an honor, right? Manali, I'll take a moment to introduce you a little bit more so that we can tell our viewers who we have with us today and how you can help us all crack that code to the second income that we're going to talk about today. All right. So great. So here goes. So Manali, to all viewers, Manali Vernekar is the founder of Financial Wisdom, a privately established financial services firm based in Goa, India. Financial Wisdom was founded by her in 2021 after just less than a decade of experience in the field of personal finance, which speaks a lot about her prowess, I believe. She is a certified financial planner from the Financial Planning Standard Board, US, and chartered wealth manager from the American Academy of Financial Management. Her experience includes working in mutual fund companies, wealth management, and financial companies, and she has a great understanding of both Indian and international markets and products. She is passionate about personal finance management, financial literacy, and is a strong advocate for financial advice that focuses solely on individuals, which is exactly why we have her with us today. So, Manali, welcome once again.
Thanks for your lovely introduction, Gunjan.
My pleasure. So, Manali, we are going to dive right in, and we are definitely going to ask you about, how, all of both of us are entrepreneurs, and potentially everyone watching us right now is an entrepreneur, right? We pour so much of ourselves into our business, and but not always does is the stream of income proportionate to our efforts, right? And in such a scenario, building a second income becomes so crucial and such a game changer in terms of possibly giving us that financial comfort, little bit of break. uh, what do you have to say to that, and what do you talk about in your circles about a potential second income to start with?
Yeah. So, Gunjan, I think as entrepreneurs or as women entrepreneur, one of the biggest mistake that we do in our entrepreneurial journey is we depend totally on our business income, right? And whatever money that has been generated through the business income is pumped back into the business income, because what we believe is we need some cash flow in order to increase our stocks, or it's all about rotation. But one thing that we forget is we don't keep our business income and our personal income in a two different wavelength. Why?
Sure.
Because the moment we try and make it one,
Mm,
any moment of ups and downs in your business, because I believe every business has to go through some sort of phases. You have your good time, you have a bad time, you have your seasons, especially depending again your on what business you are in. But the moment you try and keep a smaller portion of your business income, even a 10-20% of your business income aside, and if that is worked back for you, that itself can help you in future for your business expansion, or also in order to achieve your personal goals. So
hmm.
that is something like the major thumb rule is, to have at least a 10 or 20% of your business income kept aside and invested in an avenue which works back for you. Then investing everything back, and it's again a rotation game.
Nice. So you're saying, as a thumb rule, keep 10 to 20% of your income aside, uh,
Correct.
and then figure out some other way to invest it. That's like
Yes,
a starting point, right?
yes, yes, yes. That's just like a starting point.
mm,
because see, there's no definition to the amount that you
mm,
could put
mm,
aside, because
mm.
it you can start with as small as 500, and
Sure,
there is no upper hand to it, right? But
sure.
as a thumb rule, if you just take even a 20% income to
Mm,
start with, and then maybe as your business income increases,
mm,
you can step it up depending
mm,
on your increment in the business income. But at least
mm,
that will somewhere give you a starter, and
mm,
you can comfortably think of starting it. You'll get a figure in mind, and that itself can, passively create a wealth for you, which again can be utilized back in your business in case of an expansion.
mm,
Because most of us struggle, then we try and get into a lot of loans. Again, the liability increases because again there's a pressure of you to pay an EMI. Balancing and managing everything becomes tough.
mm,
So I think if you make this one small change in which you can, keep
mm.
aside just a 20% of your business income aside every month, that can give you a big breather over a period of time.
How interesting. So essentially, a small habit change or a small behavioral change, like that, can lay the foundation for a lot of good tomorrow. Is basically what you're saying,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct. Because
Amazing.
I have a lot of clients, who have have struggled in their businesses. Quite a few of them have been inculcated this habit, and
Mm,
today they really thank themselves for taking this first decision. Because I just to tell you a story, I had a client who was a baker.
mm,
She was very good. She had a small studio in her own apartment, like a one room she had kept as a baking unit, and she
mm.
used to bake out there, and she was very happy and comfortable doing that. But
Sure.
as time passed by, her orders increased, and there was a point of time wherein she thought that she can't manage it from her home,
Mm,
and she used to set a different unit. But
mm,
the question came in was of the capital. Now,
mm,
initially, when she started off, she had a very lesser income, like say a 50,000 per month, 60,000 per month, and then she grew up. So she
mm,
started off keeping aside some small amounts, like 5,000, 10,000,
mm,
without even realizing how much she was putting aside on a monthly basis. And the
mm.
moment after, say, a 4 or a 5 year period, when she thought of setting up her own unit, she had that capital ready with her.
Wow.
She didn't have to really struggle, because every businesses goes through a lot of phase, majorly expansion, and we all want to grow big, right? We all want to have a bigger team, we want to have a bigger premises.
True.
So everything ends up when you have to look for a capital, or then you'll have to get into loans. So I think this practice can definitely help each one of us.
True, and the takeaway that I'm really, that's coming to me is also that don't have to wait for the day when you will earn X salary and then you will be able
Yeah,
to
yeah,
set
yeah.
that amount aside. Like even with the
Yes,
example that you've given, something small also, a small percentage can also be kept aside. It's all about making that habit, right?
yes,
Amazing,
yes.
amazing. In fact, because more so because the challenges of relying on one income, especially at a time when there are consistent market shifts, there are so many family responsibilities on women, funding
Correct.
struggles are so real, right? It becomes so
Yes,
important.
yes.
Also, do you also feel that women entrepreneurs can be especially a little more vulnerable given the gender wealth gap that exists, the funding barriers that exists, right? So, as a practice, do you think that this kind of a thing can help women entrepreneurs a little more relatively?
Definitely. And also, what happens is, as a women entrepreneur, there are a lot of breaks that even
Mm,
you might have to take due to
sure,
different situations. It could
sure,
be like, you were working at one city, you had to get married to another city, or you're married
sure,
in one city and then you have a child and then you have to take few breaks. What happens
sure.
is, when you take a break, definitely your income might be, it can either be paused or there might be some sort of fluctuation,
Mm,
but your
mm,
expenses remain the same. So these
mm.
kind of habits can really create that sort of financial cushion, so that you know that in case of any kind of contingency or emergency, you have some
Yeah,
sort of savings kept aside,
yeah.
which can really help you plan and even help your family in terms of any kind of financial situation coming in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, the confidence. and the thing that you've yourself got your back, right? You don't have to
Correct,
depend on
correct.
anybody.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that is a very important psychological impact.
Yeah.
That no matter what I'm doing, even if I'm taking a conscious break from work, my income stream does not have to totally stop, right? I
Correct.
think that's a good
Yes.
one over there. Nice, nice. So we spoke about the importance of keeping certain money aside and building and inculcating this habit of getting more keeping some money aside for investment. Now, what avenue, for example, would you recommend is the easiest, right? So the word that obviously comes to mind is mutual funds. What are your inputs on that, and how do you see that as an investment avenue, really?
So, Gunjan, what I feel is when it comes to your investments, you need to always keep it simple. Let's
Hmm.
not get into things which are complicated, financial jargons which you may not understand, and just end
Fair.
up doing something fancy without even understanding where your money is leading and what you're venturing into. So,
Sure.
at the moment, I think mutual funds is something which is easily available, which is basically the talk of the town. You see a lot of people talking about it.
Hmm.
There's a lot of literacy behind it. There are a lot of people who want to get into it. We get a lot of clients who see some sort of advertisement about mutual fund and want to understand more about it. And the best part is mutual fund being an asset class, you can start as small as 500. So today if you see with the inflation and the cost of expenditure that each one of us has to incur,
Hmm.
a smallest coffee bill if you go to a Starbucks will be nothing less than 700-800 rupees, right? So I think a 500 per month even to start with is something really fair, and you don't really have to think that it's a bigger amount.
Yeah.
And now, why mutual funds is if you want to participate in the economy, because what happens is, right from what we eat, what we drink, which clothes we wear, which car you drive, each and every company is backed and it's been listed on the stock exchange. Now, the only way to participate, in the economy is to invest back into the economy. That's how mutual fund, being an asset class, really helps you do that.
Hmm.
And the biggest advantage of mutual fund is it's quite diversified in nature.
Yeah.
Okay, like,
Actually, before you proceed, Manali, sorry to
yeah.
stop you. You use the word twice, so I just wanted to clarify this. When you say asset class, can you explain that first, and then we kind of go into a little more detail? What is the meaning of the word asset class?
So when I say asset class, it means like when you invest your 100 rupees, you have to definitely diversify. You must have always heard about this phrase, not to put all eggs in one basket, right?
Sure. Yes.
So when I say about asset class, it's about diversification. How much is in equity? How much is in debt? How much is in fixed income? How much is in gold? How much is in real estate?
Mm.
Now, looking into all the most of the avenues,
Mm.
the major thumb rule is that wherever you decide to invest has to beat inflation. Okay. And
Okay.
if you want to start small and grow as you grow, I think the best avenue is mutual funds.
Mm.
Now, coming back to the question of what are mutual funds,
Mm.
as a common man, if you do not understand which stock to buy, when to sell, whether HDFC Bank is good, it's bad, whether you should hold on to it, or whether how many years you should hold on to it, or whether Reliance Industries is good, etc. So, if you
Mm.
don't understand these jargons, if you don't have time in between your business to track the stock market, understand when to buy, when to sell, just invest your money via mutual funds. Now, what
Mm.
happens in mutual fund? Just like you, there are more thousand people who are giving that 500 rupees, okay, to the fund manager. Now, what
Mm.
does the fund manager do? He's an expert in his field. Collectively, he'll invest this money and he'll buy stocks and securities. Whatever are returns generated through that fund is invested back, given back to the investor. So it's
Got it.
basically how it works. And now the bigger advantage is it is highly diversified in nature. When I
Mm.
say that, even if you're investing as low as say 10,000 per month, that 10,000 will be invested into 70 to 80 stocks. So any moment of time, not all the 70 80 will fall off together, right? Because and
Correct.
it's in different sectors altogether. So
Mm.
that's how
Mm.
mutual funds can be your starter. It can be something that can really help you uh, create and build wealth. And yes, most of us may not know, but you can also start mutual fund in your company's name.
Yes.
Because many time what happens is we feel that it's only individual. It could be a proprietorship, it could be a private limited company, it could be an LLP. You can also start investing in your company. So in case in future, because what happens is when the money is lying back into your current account, we all know that you don't earn any interest on that, right? So even a smaller portion which you know that you may not need it for another 2 or 3 years can also be invested back, and made your money work, so that it can give it back to you in terms of some compounding and returns.
Interesting. In fact, it answers one of the questions that we had, which is, can you also invest company money in the mutual fund? So I guess that answer is a big yes, right?
Yes.
One more question that is, being asked right now is also, so your whatever gains you get out of your mutual funds, right? Are how do you beat the taxation that arises out of that? What's the hack there?
Yeah. So I think the current, as per the latest tax regime, the long-term capital gain has been taxed at 12.5% over and above 1,25,000 per year, and the short-term capital gain is taxed at flat 15%. Now, when I say long-term, if you invest today, if you invest 1 lakh rupees today, and in the next 3 years, if you are withdrawing your amount, that means you're holding on for 3 years, right? That it is more than 1 year. That's how it qualifies for long term. Okay, so whatever is the gain. So if your 1 lakh becoming 3 lakh, 2 lakh is the gain on your investments. So on that 2 lakh, 1 lakh 25,000 is the exemption for that year. Just on the 75,000 gains, you'll have to pay 12.5% tax.
Okay.
So that's how the tax is being described when it comes to withdrawal. And one of the best part about mutual fund is you don't have to pay tax just like your FD on a yearly basis. Tax is only applicable at the time of withdrawal. And most of the time, you don't withdraw the entire amount. There's always a partial withdrawal, which we have noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whenever there's a partial withdrawal, you always benefit because you are always at a lower, interest that you have created, because you're not withdrawing everything at one go, until and unless you have a sizably a higher portfolio like a 40 or a 50 lakh portfolio. So I think that is something which can benefit.
Interesting. So you are saying that instead of withdrawing, like withdraw part of it, and the rest of it, you are saying we plow back into the MF to keep building and keep getting us better gains. Is that what you are also saying?
No, so what I meant to say in terms of the taxation regime, you want to know, like, what is a tax applicable?
Hmm.
Now, irrespective whether you are at a 20% bracket or whether you are at a 30% bracket, you
Hmm.
have to pay a long-term capital gain of 12.5%, which is
Yeah.
flat. Now, what does the government say? The government gives you an exemption of 1,25,000 on your gains.
Got
Okay.
it.
So that means if your 1 lakh has become 2,25,000, you have to pay no tax.
Hmm.
Okay. But if it becomes 3 lakh, okay, then on the balance of 75,000, you have to pay 12.5% tax,
Got it. Got
which
it.
is even lower compared to
Sure.
any
Yeah.
other product which is there at the moment in the market.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. And how does a newbie or a starter begin with it? Like, of course, you said start small. So, for example, is SIP a vehicle to do that, or how do you kind of slowly get into the mainstream and then start getting the benefit of it?
I think the first question that you need to ask yourself is the purpose behind investing, right?
Sure.
So, what is your goal? Because it's always good to define our goals and just not randomly put our money here and there. Because what
Mm.
happens is the moment you have a vision that why are you looking forward for your investments. Now there are few
Yes.
of the common goals which most of us have in our life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Manali, we are losing you a little bit. But yes, I guess what Manali is also saying is that, to have a goal, have a vision before, bringing out an investment. Yes, Manali, you're back.
Yeah. So I think what is important is to identify your portfolio, and once you know that, okay, I want to invest for my child's education, I want to
Mm,
invest for my own financial freedom. Then is
mm,
when you need to understand how much money would you need. Now, just to give you an example, the cost of today's if your son is say 5 year old, and
mm.
if
Yeah.
education,
Hmm, hmm,
uh,
hmm. Yeah.
if your son is say 5 year old, and if you want to plan for his higher education at his age of 18, okay, if
Yeah.
today's cost of say 20 lakh rupees will definitely become 80 lakhs, by the time he goes for a higher education. So an
Mm.
SIP of 10,000 per month for a period of 12 years can really help you create that 80 lakh of corpus.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's how generally we try and plan our clients financial goal. And one of the
Sure.
most important goal which each one of us forget is our own financial freedom,
Yes.
because we work so hard day in and day out, working back for our business, but we
Yeah.
don't realize that there is no government sitting who have our back, who's gonna really give you a pension post our retirement, right? So even
True.
a smaller amount, if you can try and plan for yourself, that can really create a corpus, and that can take care of your lifestyle even when you're not working post your retirement years.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Absolutely. No, some very good benefits of really going into an SIP, and also getting into mutual fund is coming up. Priyanka has a question which is around the portfolio ratio. What's the ideal portfolio ratio? Should be that should be maintained, and what about the debt and equity ratio? Are there any tips that you have on that?
So again, your portfolio depends on what is the tenure of your investment, right? So if you are quite confident that even if you are say whatever age, but if you
Mm,
know that you have on an average 10 years, 12 years, in hand in order to compound wealth, you can go for
mm.
100% equity. But again, everything cannot be invested for long term.
Sure,
So your
sure.
goals have to be divided into short term, medium term, and long term. Now, when I say
Mm,
short term, it could be planning for an emergency fund, planning for a vacation, if you want to change your car, etc. Right? Something which arises in 1 to 3 years' time. Any
mm,
home renovations. So
mm.
these kind of goals, you can invest into a hybrid fund or a debt fund, wherein there is no much of equity exposure, and even in case of volatility, you're on an average getting 9 to 10% per annum. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But
Makes
anything
sense.
above 7 years or 8 years, you can even go 100% equity, because more the time in the market, more compounding is what you benefit from.
Fair. That sounds right. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so many other benefits to be accrued from this kind of a sensible investment, such as not only for the future, the way you mentioned, but also many times we forget that even in the present moment, we can fall upon tough times, right? And many times the money that we have for ourselves at this moment may not be enough in terms of whatever we have ready at hand, and at such times really investments can come to our rescue in that sense, apart
Correct.
so
And
hence
I think
apart
one of the
from
situation
yes,
that we all have seen was COVID. I have
yes,
seen a lot of clients panicking, and in fact, it had hit majorly for a lot of our businesses.
mm,
And most of my clients who had an investments which was parallelly running before COVID
mm,
were the ones who were really relaxed, because even
wow,
if there was no cash flow in hand
mm,
coming in, they had their investments as their backup, which they could have utilized, to pay the salaries for the employees, or for their day to day expenditure, or for the operation cost. So
mm.
we need to be prepared for any situation, so that things are in control.
Sure, I think that's a great perspective because many times we think ki time hai, for the future. I will do it. There will come a time, but we sometimes forget about the immediate importance of this and that. It can help us at any given point in time, right? So that is an important one. Amazing, great. Also, wanted to talk very briefly about how money, while a lot of us know its importance, etc., there are a lot
Yeah.
of myths also around investment, right? Like just like you busted one such a crucial myth that we think that just then we will have this kind of a income is when I will start investing, right? But
Yes.
how about busting some myths, like it's not something just this just for the rich, right? Or it's maybe too risky. What are some common myths that come to your mind that you would love to bust today?
I think the one of the funny story that I can share is I had a person who comes to my office, for the cleaning per se. So
Hmm.
she came to me one day and she told me, Manali, I want to start a small SIP. Can I just start as small as 1,000? And I was like, yes, why not? And she's like, I discussed this with my son, and he mentioned to me that SIPs and mutual funds are only for the ones who are rich, because you
Wow.
tend to lose a lot of money. So and his son is on an average not someone who is very old. He is in
Sure.
his 20s. So that's when I sat with her and I explained her that this is not how it goes, because in today's time risk is something which is associated with any form of investments. You keep your money in your bank account is also risky, because if you have an FD of 10 lakhs, the bank, the RBI only gives you an insurance on your FDs up to 5 lakh. So in case if the bank goes bankrupt, and we have seen a lot of cases, we had Yes Bank story, we had couple of banks even in Goa, like majorly of cooperative banks, which
Sure.
had a lot of issues in terms of the cash flow, and clients had lost a lot of money. So
Hmm.
you invest in gold, is also a bit volatile, because you have a thought process, what if my gold gets stolen?
Yep.
And even if you sleep keeping all the cash under your pillow is also risky. So I feel investments in any form is risky, but what is important is you should have a calculated risk associated with that.
Hmm.
Now, look, coming back to your question, whether investments or mutual funds or SIPs are only for rich, definitely not, because the rich, don't think it in that way, because they know how they definitely have a multiple sources of income, and
Hmm.
that's how they are not totally dependent on one income. But for
Hmm.
any common person, for any person who wants to start with, irrespective
Hmm.
what age you are, you can start even for your newborn babies who have just if you have their birth certificate in place, you can start a small SIP of 500 as well for them, because looking at the current cost of education, which is skyrocketing, right? Education inflation and the medical inflation is at its peak.
True.
That can create a smaller corpus for your child, so that as a parent you're not burdened when your child has to go for their higher education. Even in terms of in fact, I have a client who is a vegetable vendor in Goa. So every day he has a daily SIP of 1,000 per day. So
Wow.
if you consider, if you ask me today, vegetable vendor, right, you'll be like, how much will he be earning? But what is his calculation is not monthly basis, because he makes on a daily basis, right, selling his thing. So he has a daily SIP of 1,000. So collectively he puts aside 30,000 on a monthly basis.
Wow.
So I think we should not feel anything lower about ourselves, or about where we stand today. It could be any form of business that you are in, but getting started is very important. Once you get yourself started, that's how you progress and grow in future.
Correct. And what an amazing inspiration you've given us in the form of the vegetable vendor. If anybody like that can make that effort of building that habit, I think that's what I took back. Then nothing can stop or should stop. People like us, our breed, which is entrepreneurs, which stands for discipline, right?
Correct.
To again build in that good discipline and that good saving habit, right? So amazing conversation today, Manali. You spoke about how the importance of setting aside certain amount, building that habit, building a goal for which you want to invest, and then going ahead and making that investment, whether on your own behalf or on the behalf of your company. And that can become your moat for not only the future but also an ongoing challenge that may come on a, in the present day also. So those are some extremely important gems that I took back today, and I'm sure our audience also did the same. Any last words before we close this? It's been an absolutely fantastic conversation, but very quickly, any last words you have for us?
So I think I would like to end up saying that irrespective, where you stand today, what I believe, if we are here as women entrepreneurs, whatever you do in life, however rich you are, however rich your husband is, make sure that you are financially independent. And the moment you are financially independent, that gives you a different level of confidence. Irrespective, you invest in any form of investments. It may not be mutual fund, it could be something that is working back for you, right? Wherever you feel confident about. But being financially independent is a key that we need to teach ourselves and also the generation that follows after us, right? Let's start this habit even for our kids, because today's generation is extremely smart. And after conducting sessions in various school colleges, I have come across kids, who want to even get come to me with questions and want to get them started. So I think let's inspire and each other. Let's inspire our next generation as well, so that we are financially independent and helping ourselves retire rich.
Absolutely. Thank you, Manali, for those gems. Couldn't have asked for a better closure to our conversation this evening. Thank you again, Manali, for your time, and I hope all the audiences had some very, very rich takeaways today. Until the next session, then, goodbye, all, and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Gunjan. Yeah. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Manali. Bye, all. Bye bye.